So, journaling is all the rage these days. I feel like everywhere I turn, I am hearing about someone who, whether it's an incredibly successful entrepreneur or a creative, they're talking about how the practice of putting pen to paper consistently has just completely changed their life from helping them gain clarity on what they really desired, overcome limiting beliefs and mindset blocks, and really reach some incredible goals that they have. And it is a wildly powerful practice. I'm guessing you probably know that. If you're here, you likely care very, very much about becoming the best version of yourself and accomplishing some pretty amazing dreams that you have for your life. And so I would make a safe bet to say that you've probably tried journaling or at least thought about it. And I'm curious, have you ever sat down to journal and all of a sudden it's like your mind totally blanks? Like nothing. You got nothing. Nothing is coming up for you. Or maybe you've kind of gotten past that part and you've started journaling and you just kind of feel like, I don't understand this. I feel like it's just wasting my time. I don't know that I'm actually getting anything out of it. I don't know that this is effective. And it's kind of frustrating. If you've done that, if that's you, let me know in the comments. Like, have you tried journaling? How is that for you? Is it hard? Is it frustrating? Let me know. And I'm really excited because today we are going to talk about how to create a consistent and effective practice of journaling. It is such a powerful exercise, and I'm going to give you 5 tips on how to create a consistent practice of journaling that works for you and that is incredibly effective for what you want in your life. If you're new here, welcome. I'm Jennifer Diaz, mindset and success coach for women entrepreneurs. And if you find this video helpful, please like it, subscribe, turn on your alerts, because each week I will be bringing you a new video with coaching tips on how to overcome limiting beliefs, really tap into your potential, and create the life that you dream about living. So I started journaling consistently, like I'd say probably 6 years ago. And when I first started, I was really like, I have no idea if this is working. I don't know. People are doing it. I feel like I should be doing it. So why not? It kind of does feel good to get my thoughts out on paper. But I really wasn't sure what I was doing with it. Now it's a very consistent part of my life, and it's something that I require clients to do when they work with me because it is so powerful. In fact, it's really cool because I'll go back and read journals that I wrote years ago and about, the kind of day I wanted to have, the work I wanted to do, how I wanted to feel, different things that I was craving and wanting to create in my own life. And now it's cool because a lot of that has come to fruition. And, my morning routine, that's exactly what I wanted then is exactly what I have now. The work that I'm doing, it looks exactly like I used to write about. And it's really pretty incredible and powerful that how this can impact our lives. So if you haven't tried it or if you've thought about it, I highly encourage you to try it. Try to create consistency with it and give it some time and see what comes as a result. It's going to be really cool. But let's get into the 5 tips on some of the biggest issues I see with people, biggest questions I get, and hopefully that'll help you overcome anything that's getting in your way of doing this and creating consistency with it, because it's really incredible. So first, why is journaling so powerful? What about physically writing something down actually makes a difference in our day-to-day life and ultimately our results? Because if you're like me, that's why you want to do stuff like this, is because you want to see the tangible, some intangible results show up in your life. Well, there are studies that show that when we physically write something down, we are 40% more likely to remember it. That's huge because we have information coming in at us like crazy constantly, more than ever before. And if you are not careful about focusing on what you want rather than what you've known, what's comfortable, you will always put your goals, dreams, new things that you want to try on the back burner. So physically writing things out actually changes your brain. That's one reason why, for me, if there's something I need to do, I've got to write it down or I'll forget, or it won't happen. Best intentions, that's not going to get me very far if I want to be wildly successful. So writing things down can really help your brain remember it. So one of the reasons why journaling is so incredibly powerful is that, and there are studies that show this, that when we physically write something down, we are about 40% more likely to actually remember it. We are constantly taking in information through all five senses, like more now than ever before. And it is wildly difficult to remember the goals we have, even some to-dos we have, if we don't physically write them down, if we're not intentional about focusing on them, because those are new things, and our brains love to conserve energy and love to keep us in our comfort zone for what we've, just what's known, what we've been doing, what's already in the queue. Writing things down is a really powerful way to help us remember, keep our goals top of mind, keep our, new habits and behaviors top of mind, so that we're way more likely to follow through. Physically writing things down also activates the reticular activating system in your brain. This system is like a filter. So like I said, we're getting so much information. If we were to focus on every piece of information that's coming in, it would be wildly overwhelming. We couldn't do it. So our brains filter things through based on our thoughts, beliefs, all of our internal filters, so that it's really filtering what's important to us, what we need to focus on, and things like that. And journaling can help activate your RAS so that when you're writing down your goals, maybe the vision you have for your life, or affirmations, your brain is filtering out things that don't align with what you've written down. Because it's not important, because that's not what we're trying to focus on. And what it will do is it will look for proof and other opportunities for the things that we are focusing on, like what we want, our goals, where we want to be in the future, or even that day, like what we want to accomplish that day. So we are just so much more likely to stay focused on what we want and where we want to go, rather than just kind of sliding into the comfort zone and what we've been doing regularly already. So it's really, really powerful to help us, especially if you're looking to make changes, or if you're leveling up in your business and your life. This is hands down one of the best ways to just support yourself in being successful. I'm all about setting my clients up for success, journaling on what you want, and even that day, what you're grateful for, the things that you really want your mind to focus on, is a beautiful way to set yourself up for success. So how do we create a really consistent and effective journaling practice? Because you're committed. You are dedicated to becoming the best version of yourself. You have some really big goals that you want to hit in your life, and you will do what it takes. So how do we create a consistent and effective journaling practice? Well, for starters, let go of perfection. This is probably the biggest hurdle people run into when they get started. I don't know, are you a recovering perfectionist? Let me know in the comments, because I know I am. And a lot of clients that I work with, and women that come to me and they're like, I don't know what to write. I don't know. It really isn't about knowing what to write. It's really about getting over yourself just a smidge. Your journal is not a thesis. It isn't a novel. No one is going to, there's no grammar police. No one's going to judge you. It should really just be a mess. My journal is an absolute wreck. My writing looks horrible. I probably misspell words. Grammar is non-existent. We don't know her here. It's not something I'm concerned with, because my journal is not a place for me to put on my, academic hat and try to sit there and write something that is well thought out and beautiful. It's not a think piece. It really is just word vomit. And so when you're journaling, I like to tell people, just get it all out. The good, the bad, the weird, the ugly, all of that needs to go into your journal. Write like no one will ever read this, because they shouldn't be. And in fact, if you need to, like, charge someone that you trust with, if anything happens to me, please burn all of these. Don't read them, just burn them. And that's a little bit morbid. But you know, whatever. That's what helps me. No one read this, just burn them. Eric, don't read it, burn it, please. Because I'm getting all this out. Like, some thoughts aren't nice, some thoughts aren't good. And that's okay, because if I get it out on paper, it has a less chance of coming out in other ways in my life. And so don't overthink. It's not about anything being perfect or beautifully written. Just start writing. Some days when I'm not feeling it, I'll just be like, I don't know what to write today. This feels so stupid. I'm so annoyed, blah, blah, blah. I'm like totally complaining. And that's okay. Eventually something better comes out. Sometimes it doesn't, but it's okay, because I'm just creating that consistency with this practice for myself. So that's the first step. Stop trying so hard. There's nothing, you don't have to try hard here. This is just doing the least. Really beautiful subconscious brain dump. That's what we want. The second tip on how to create a consistent practice with journaling is to set a timer. This is really good, especially if you're just beginning, because maybe you don't have 30 minutes, and that's fine. You don't have to have 30 minutes to journal. But if you have 10 minutes or even 5 minutes, great. That is so much better than nothing, especially when it comes to creating consistency with this practice. So set a timer, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, and decide I'm just going to like write whatever pops into my mind for that amount of time. And then when the timer goes off, stop. This is great, especially if you're beginning, because sometimes I think we overcomplicate routines in our life. We think I need to wake up at 5 and I need to do this for 30 minutes and I need to meditate for 30 minutes and then I'll exercise and then I'll make a really healthy breakfast. And if that's your schedule and you love that, amazing. I'm not going to wake up at 5. I'm like way more of a night owl than a morning bird. What is it? Early bird? I don't know. And I'm just not willing. I'm just not willing to wake up that early. So make this as easy as you can. Set a timer and just commit. 10 minutes, I'm going to do this. You might find one day you have more time and you can kind of take it a little bit longer and enjoy that. That's great. Do that. But don't let the amount of time you feel like you should be spending get in your way. The third tip is to tack journaling on to a routine that is already going well. Maybe you have a really amazing morning routine where you get up, you get coffee. Go ahead and add journaling in to a routine that you've already got, that you're already used to. I think this is called like routine stacking or something. I'm not really sure. But this is a really beautiful way to kind of add in a new behavior and be more consistent with it, especially when things are already going well. So add this to your morning routine, add this to your evening routine. I find personally that journaling early in the morning or right before I go to bed is the most effective for me, because it's like I'm really able to be unfiltered. My inner critic hasn't really fully woken up, or maybe she's like just too tired from trying to stop me all day at night. And then, my critical factory isn't fully there. So I'm really able to just go in and not overthink and just kind of brain dump. It's beautiful to journal when you're a little tired. You'll find some really cool gems coming out of that. It's fun when my clients come to me after they've been doing it for a while and they were like, it was wild. It was just like flowing out of me. And some of the things I'm like, oh, wow, that's super cool. So I love doing it in the morning or at night. So tack it on to a morning or evening routine that you're already doing, and make this just a small addition to it and see how that works. See how that feels for you. Maybe it's like a lunch routine. I don't know. You try whatever whatever you can try and see what works best for you. Don't be afraid to play with it and experiment and make it your own, because that is when you are going to be not just consistent, but actually more successful with it too, which is what we want. The fourth thing I would try is to create a moment for yourself with this practice. Make this into a really beautiful self-care ritual. Personally, I love getting my coffee in the morning and lighting a candle, sitting in one of my favorite spots in my home and turning on one of my favorite Spotify playlists, which I'll put in the description. It's great for journaling. And just take time to just be. This is a really fantastic way to show up for yourself, to create self-trust and self-efficacy, and just really show yourself on an action-based level that you are very committed to becoming the best version of yourself, to reaching the goals that you have for your life, and showing up well in all areas of your life. This is such a good way to do that, to help yourself do that each day. So whatever that looks like for you, create a moment that feels luxurious so that you actually look forward to it each day. Anytime you're setting new goals, it's always helpful to make sure you're enjoying the process, that it's fun. And this, for me, is a really beautiful way to make it fun. Fifth and final tip is use journal prompts. I remember learning to draw as a kid, and I would get a picture or an outline of whatever it was that I wanted to draw, and I would put my paper on top of it and just kind of trace it. And that's how I started to learn. And journal prompts are really similar. They provide the same kind of help. And really, questions are powerful. When we sit down and we ask ourselves meaningful questions, it is cool to see the insight we can glean from it. Really shows us what we authentically desire in our life and maybe what we need to do next. It can be a beautiful way to gain clarity on who you are and what you want. And so find a really good source of journal prompts that can help you get started, especially if you feel like you've hit a wall and you're totally blank. This is something I use pretty regularly, actually, still. But especially on days where I'm like, what is life? I don't even know. Who am I? What am I doing? Occasional times when you kind of feel like that, it can be a really great way to find your footing again and get grounded and just get back into, okay, I am clear, I'm committed, I'm feeling really good about who I am and where I'm going. So if you're really committed and you're like, okay, I'm journaling, I'm going to do it. I am ready. Let's go. I have a free resource for you that is a 21-day higher self-guided journal that you can use. Download that. It has a ton of really thought-provoking questions and journal prompts that you can utilize for the next 3 weeks to help you overcome fear and limiting beliefs, to tap into what you want and your potential, and really show up for yourself in the next 21 days. So now you're ready. You've got all the tools you need in order to create a very successful journaling practice. I'm going to put my favorite resources, the journals that I love, the playlists that I love in the description. And if you like this video, make sure you like it, subscribe. Feel free to comment with any topics you want me to talk about or any questions that you have that I could answer for you. I would love to do that. And then I will see you next week in the next video.